Before we jump into today's episode, I want to tell you about something worth your time, the Altus Summit. If you are serious about growing your cleaning business, this isn't just another conference. It's where top operators come together to share real strategies, solve real problems, and walk away with ideas you can actually use. This is happening June 8th through 10th in Chicago, right at ISSA headquarters. Altus is built around connection, collaboration, and actionable growth, not just sitting in sessions. So if you want to sharpen your strategy and connect with leaders who are pushing the industry forward, check it out. I'll put a link to the event in the episode notes below. And now to our episode. You know you've hit rock bottom on pricing when a customer calls you, you give them your rate, and they say, "Oh, that's it?" And instead of feeling good about that, you feel a little sick. You not only hit rock bottom, but you found a shovel and you start to dig. Like, wait, you think, should I have charged more? Odds are, yes, you should have. Well, stick around because that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. This is Take 5 with Cleanfax. Real talk, real lessons in just 5 minutes. When I first started out, I priced jobs by the room. 2 rooms, here's your price. 5 rooms, it's a little more, but not a lot more. I kept my numbers low because I thought that's how you stayed busy. And busy meant successful, right? It's what was in my head. I was working constantly. Now, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the work. I was booking every job I could get. At the end of the week, I needed a vacation. My equipment was over time getting worn down with all the work it was doing, and I wasn't making nearly what I thought I should be. But I figured that was just the deal. More volume, more money. That's how it works. Except while it was working, it wasn't working. Here's what I didn't understand back then that I want to talk about today. Pricing like that, especially room pricing, can force you to undercharge. You start comparing yourself to every flyer you get in the mailbox and every Groupon you've ever seen. And when you're competing on price, there's always someone willing to go lower, lower, and lower. Always. That race has no finish line, just a floor, and it's not pretty down there. So at some point, I forget the year, but I raised my prices just a little bit, meaningful, and I lost some customers. Interesting, I lost some customers that I didn't miss too much. The phone didn't ring as much. Some of my regulars went somewhere else, somewhere cheaper. And for a minute, that might have felt like failure. But then something interesting happened. The customers who did call, they were different. They weren't haggling as much. Now, I know you always have your hagglers, but it was getting fewer and far between. They weren't asking me to do 5 rooms for the price of 3, or clean this sofa and toss in that love seat, or here are all our floor mats from the cars and our neighbors' cars as well. They had nice homes. They treated me with respect, and they actually cared about the results, not just the number on the invoice. They became repeat customers. They referred their friends, and those friends were just like them. Isn't that interesting how that works? So I was doing fewer jobs, but I was making more money. I had extra time. I didn't feel like I needed to fill that time with those cheap jobs. And let me say that again because it matters. Fewer jobs, more money. Less wear on the truck, less wear on the body, more time to do each job right. Can you imagine going into a job, you're going to clean 2 rooms, and they toss in a sofa and love seat, and you say, I have time to do that. More margin to actually invest back in your business. When you're the cheapest, you attract price shoppers. And that's not an insult to those customers. It's just math. I'm a bad mather, but I get this. If price is the number one factor in their decision, then you win them by being cheap, and you lose them the moment someone else is cheaper. There's no loyalty there. There's no relationship. It's a transaction, and you're always one flyer away from losing it. But when you price at a level that reflects real value, well, your training, your equipment, your process, your results, you attract people who want what you actually offer. They're not looking for the cheapest. They're looking for someone they can trust. And we've all heard that. You buy from people you trust, you buy from people you like. That can work in your favor. Now, I'm not saying you just double your prices tomorrow and hope and pray and see what happens. There's work involved in earning a premium. You have to deliver a premium experience. Your communication has to be sharp. Your presentation has to be professional. Your results have to speak for themselves. When those things are in place, your price becomes a signal. It tells the customer, this person is serious. So here's a simple thing I want you to think about. Look at your last 10 jobs. Which customers were the most pleasant to work with? Which ones paid without blinking? They tipped. They referred you to someone else. I bet they weren't your lowest paying jobs. And look at the difficult ones, the ones who questioned everything, who asked for discounts, who left you a mediocre review even after you bent over backwards. What did those jobs pay? Your correlation is usually pretty clear. Being the cheapest is not a strategy. It's a slow exit. So raise your value, raise your standards, raise your prices, and watch what kind of customers start calling. That's your Take 5. I'm Jeff Cross with Cleanfax. Now go do good work and charge more for what you do.